Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy Ho! Wait, fuck. This is breaking on the tape. Oh, shit.
Hello, and welcome everybody to another episode of Breaking Down the Tape. I'm Zack, and to my, my right, left, I don't fucking know, is not Hector because he's on vacation. It's your boy HoovTube on YouTube. Let him know who you are, Hoov.
You know, I've never been on live television before. I'm just kidding. It's your boy Hoov. You guys can find me on SportsMe, YouTube, Instagram. You name it. I'm not going to give out the personal because I don't want anybody sliding in those DMs like we talked about it on my show. But you guys can find me on those three platforms right there. So, yeah.
Hoov's personal information is always out there for a price. Just let me know. We'll see what we can work out.
You guys can find my OnlyFans for $7.99 a month.
There you go. There you go. Put it out there, boy. Make that money. But like we spoke about last week, Hector is on vacation in Cancun. I could not fit into his suitcase. There is a weight limit. So I am stuck here, and I figured I'd bring on HoovTube because he's pretty awesome. We were on with him before and had an absolute blast. We vibe all the time. So he's going to be my a little bit more Caucasian Hector for the week. So this time, guys, Hoov and myself are not nearly as adequate at around the world of sports. So if you need that, turn on ESPN. Go to your Bleacher Report apps. You can always find around the world of sports there because there are plenty of sports on those apps.
Or you can go to Disney Plus and watch Around the World in 80 Days with Jackie Chan.
Boom. There you go. We've got I will be giving out the answer to last week's trivia and this week's trivia question. We will be doing a little interview of myself and Hoov, not particularly in that order. Just kind of figure out how we got started, let you guys learn a little bit more about Hoov, and we'll get into Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. I know we talked about that before, but I definitely want to bring in Hoov for that, get his opinion, and we'll talk about the Super Bowl and who we think's going. Sound pretty good, Hoov?
That sounds good to me, man. Let's do it.
Outstanding. So I don't have enough commercials to take too many breaks, so we're just going to roll right into the trivia question last week. Did you happen to see it, by the way, or do I need to read it to you?
Things have been crazy over here, man. I've been getting a lot of things ready, but we'll talk about that later during the interview.
Hell yeah. Hoov will explain he's from a mansion in Wisconsin. I'm never going to let that fucking reference die. As long as I can, I'm going to try and keep that alive, T-Pain.
We don't.
The question was, the Detroit Lions became a part of the NFL in 1930. Who was the first Lions quarterback to throw for over 4,000 yards in a single season? Do you happen to know that answer?
It was the guy that left for Pittsburgh and cursed the city. I just can't think of the name. What's his name? He was like an MVP, man. What? See, as a owner of the Green Bay Packers, I shouldn't know a lot of heritage about the Detroit Lions, so I don't know that answer. But you guys can comment down below on what the answer is. Let me know if I'm right.
Well, it is Scott Mitchell. So that was last week's question. It is Scott Mitchell. Don't worry, I'll be hitting you with this week's question here.
I don't think that's it.
So, this week's question is, which team has the most Super Bowl losses? Do you happen to know that?
If you had enough time, I'd probably figure it out, but
come on, clock's ticking.
I feel like it's the Packers.
You feel like it's that's not a bad. It's wrong. I'll give the fans that. It's
wrong.
Okay. But it's not a bad, considering they're one of the longest tenured teams in the NFL.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, because it was the Broncos with Elway. And then they won in 10, and then they won the first two. So, yeah, I guess. I'm not sure. If my math is wrong. If I sit down and think about it, I'd probably figure it out, but I can't think of it off the top of my head, no.
So it is a little bit of a trick question, and I'm not going to tell anybody how it's a trick question, but it is a little bit of a trick question. So before we cut to credits, I will ask it one more time. And as always, guys, Facebook, Instagram, I'm going to have it up there, TikTok. Which team has the most Super Bowl losses?
Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I'm not Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to leave for Jeopardy.
And we're back. So like I said, we're going to go right into some interview and kind of talking about your host for this week. So, Hoov, tell me, I know that you're on YouTube a lot. Obviously, we met through Sports Me and stuff. So tell me how all of this started. How did HoovTube on YouTube start, man?
That's kind of a good question. I mean, like, I didn't even know this, but May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
So if it's cool with you, I'm going to share a little bit of a story about why I came onto YouTube and started doing my own thing.
Hell yeah, man. That was yours.
It kind of shows, like, being you, it pays in the end, let's just say. Right now, Hunter Ursa's talking about mental health and Dak Prescott's talking about mental health. So let's talk about it here on Breaking Down the Tape.
Sure. Hell yeah, man.
So I grew up in a town called Jefferson, Wisconsin. And obviously, small towns, you always have that small town narrative that you're never going to make it out of there. It's kind of like a bubble, There's a few people that make it out, but not many people ever do. And, like, bullying is very big around here and stuff. And I as a kid, I was always me. I always was okay with embracing who I was.
Right.
And people eventually, like, they started bullying me, and it got to a certain point, like, where it was like harassment day after day. And just because I like Justin Bieber, so I started impersonating Justin Bieber. And so, like, people would, pardon my French, people would call you, like, faggot, and they would, like, lock you outside on the playground underneath, like, bars until it got dark and everyone else left, and would throw, like, rocks and wood chips at you. And, like, they would organize that no one would talk to you for a whole month except for the teacher. So you had to sit alone, and it, like, in fourth grade, man. So, like, at that young age, you're getting bullied like that and not really, like, knowing who you are, but just embracing who you are.
Right.
You just keep doing it. And so eventually I did a talent show impersonating Justin Bieber. And, like, there wasn't winning back then, but everyone remembered that talent show as Nick Hoover impersonating Justin Bieber. And so, the bullying eventually kept going, and later on in high school, I just kind of embraced being that guy. And I won on top, and I was homecoming king my senior year. And then I graduated after that, and going from having a lot of socialism in high school to nothing. And it broke my heart. I fell into a really bad depression.
Right.
And just staring at the ceiling every day, counting the dots, and just I'm a very spiritual person, so I would never contemplate suicide, but just contemplating, like, hoping someone else would do that for you,
Sure.
And eventually just getting the right help and getting out of that. And that's when I started doing this. And I've started doing HoovTube with a guy. I won't name his name or anything, but I started doing it with this, let's just call him my former co-host. And when I brought him on, I was originally doing YouTube, just kind of like vlogs, kind of putting content out there, just because that was my outlet of getting out of my depression, like putting content out there for people and getting back out into the world with, like, being socialized with everybody. Like, that was my outlet. And so, like, I was doing vlogging, even though I was, like, still depressed at the time. So when I really wanted to focus on sports, and I had a lot of things I could do, like impressions, and I had a lot of niches. So I brought him on to start doing sports, and we would do, like, videos every week pretty much. I remember us starting out on a table, and we'd have the phone down, and we just screen record. Like, we'd voice record it and put a picture together, and people fucking loved it, because it was bold versus brash. And eventually it kind of went to his head, and every time that things would come to a T, he'd end up leaving the show, and he'd come back, and the environment was really toxic. And I didn't really know what to do, because I really wanted this to work, because I knew that this could be something that I'd be really proud of if it got big,
Sure.
So it was going to be my 21st birthday, my golden birthday. It was going to be the weekend of the NFL draft in Vegas, and obviously COVID happens. So I couldn't make it out there. That was going to be like my next thing that I was going to do to establish my brand, make a name for myself, meet a few people, try to get a few connections. And unfortunately, COVID, that just didn't happen. So, you got to keep a positive mindset about things, I always say. And it was hard, like there was a lot of things in my life that you just keep getting knocked and knocked and knocked, but you got to keep pushing. And I kept putting out content with another guy that I'm really appreciative that he's always read by me. His name's Keith, and we would put out content, and it wasn't getting the right views, so I was kind of getting a little turned off eventually, and I didn't know what to do, and eventually Jeff reached out to me from Sports Me, and it brought such a different approach to the show. It brought so much hope. I was this close to quitting. I didn't know what else to do. Like I was just putting out content for months just to put out content because people were home during COVID. I just wanted like people to have something to watch while they were at home. And people were just getting turned off by it eventually. And then Sports Me, I got all these connections with you guys and Boda and Bogart and Robbie and Jeff and Derek and all of them, and I'm just so excited about the future of the show, man.
Outstanding, man. Outstanding. So yeah, talk to me. What's the future look like? I mean, Mr. Perfect segue over there.
Well, right now, for a long time, when you're depressed, it's a lot of. I'm not going to say money makes you happy, but money brings you luxuries that can buy things that help your anxiety.
Amen.
And so it's like having things like I can invest in like HoovTube merch eventually, like right now, doing things like that, and investing in a good studio and investing in equipment and just doing those kind of things. It's helped clear up my mind in the vision on what I want HoovTube to be. I've always had these ideas on what I wanted it to be, but I could never put it all together. And I finally did recently, and I'm just so excited. What it's going to be is kind of like Saturday Night Live. I can do a lot of impressions, and we'll showcase a few of them later. But I can do impressions. I have a musical background. I do sports, and I wanted to bring a few people on, talk about sports topics, and during the segues, I wanted to do Saturday Night Live skits in between. Possibly have musical guests come on and play their new music. Okay. I want to support like local artists and stuff like that too. And
hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. So you can sing, you do impressions, and sports. So basically you're just genetically superior is what you're saying.
I'm 130 pounds. I'm 130 pounds. People could break me, honestly. I look like a praying.
I mean, that is like the size of my thigh, as I am 300 pounds. But okay, all right. So
I know how to talk. I know how to talk the talk. I know how to walk the walk.
Right. You just need those big guys around you to make up for that physical part of it. I got you.
Big Skywalker, smooth talker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I hear what you're saying about the money, man. I got 99 problems, and money would solve 100 of them. I'm gonna save I want to get your favorite impression, but I want to get that one last. I want to hit the fans with it last, so that they have to guess for it. Can you give me like 3, 4, 5, however many you're comfortable with? Can you break out your best impressions for us?
All right. Changing voices. Like starting to do impressions. A little backstory before I get into it.
Yeah, please.
Doing impressions is a lot easier than people think. It just takes practice. Like if you learn one voice, you can change it just very slightly and do it another one. So
I saw something on TikTok, an impressionist was saying something very similar, how they use extremely similar voices. They just kind of like change the pitch and the cadence, and then you get a completely different character person. And to hear you say that is kind of validating for that TikTok video, because I disagree with them as someone who doesn't know my ass from my head. I'm like, you're clearly wrong. I know so much more than you, and you're a liar. Because that makes no fucking sense to me how it's that easy.
Working with vocal cords, I say that because I have a musical background experience, so I know the terms of vocal cords and everything. So I guess that's a little ignorant for me to say that it's easy, but with the right practice, it can be accomplished.
I guess so. I don't know. Impressions is probably one of my favorite skills a person can have because I think it's one of the hardest. You know what I mean? Like physical things, okay, if you train your body enough, you can get your muscles to do anything. I mean, like you could be an Olympic bodybuilder. It's going to take you a long period of time, but eventually you can train yourself there. I can never be an impressionist. I promise you right here, right now, that no matter how much effort I put into it, I will never be an impressionist.
If you pulled out a good Jon Snow, I'd be impressed.
I don't think I can do. I do. And especially when I hear the sound of my voice, it does not sound how it sounds up here. So I would have no idea how to get that shit unfucked, I should say.
Have you ever heard Prince talk?
Yes.
Yeah. Probably one of the deepest voices like you ever hear, but he's up there. Raspberry beret.
Yeah, see, I can't.
In a secondhand store. Raspberry beret.
See, my throat hurts just listening to you do that. So
Hell no. All right, let's get into some voices. Yes, all right,
please.
I need a drink. Okay. All right, so you want me to do 3 impressions. 2 of them you don't want me to say who it is.
Sure. Yeah, I'm okay with trying to guess them.
Well, I'll do 2 that people can guess, and then I'll say the 3rd one.
Yeah.
All right, I'll make it kind of easy for people to guess. All right.
Sure.
Hi. Well, I need to nail that one. Doing this guy, you kind of have to like lose your mind a little bit. Let's just say, okay.
I already know who this one is too.
It's crazy to be here. You know, the Jets, they need more cowbell. That's one. All right.
All right.
I know who I want to do 3rd. I'm just trying to think who I want to do 2nd. All right. That one's so basic. Oh, I'm trying to think. We have time though.
Mimicking my voice like somebody else's. It's so basic.
I could do Pee Wee Herman or something like that. I could do Matthew McConaughey. All right. There
you go. My wife would love that one.
Going down to the music store, buy ourselves some bongos, getting my Lincoln, going to the airplane, go to the airplane, fly on a Punta Cana, order ourselves some margaritas, dip our toes in the sand. All right.
There you go. I love it.
That one. That one's a good one. But then sports me's favorite. Well, I tell you what, man. This is John Gruden, man. Knock on wood if you're with me, man. How about the Raiders, man? I think we could get Aaron Rodgers, man, to run Spider 2Y banana, man.
I was wondering if you were going to break that one out tonight.
Like doing impressions, you practice a lot of them. And like, I have so many things in my repertoire, like Sean Connery, like Junior. That one's such a favorite for me. I love pulling that one out. Like your mother's such a whore, Trebek. Like watching that on Saturday Night Live was so funny. I liked it. Like I need to work on my Adam Sandler. I really do. But like Pee Wee Herman, that one always was good. Gilbert Godfrey, I always like doing that one. This is Gilbert Godfrey. I remember I was really nervous when I went on to Sports Arena. I did a Gilbert Godfrey impression. I didn't know how people were going to think about it. And like this was when Tiger Woods went off the cliff. He went off it's not funny. Honestly, he was hurt. But like, right. I was thinking about the joke at the time, and I probably shouldn't have. But he went off the cliff, and I was thinking in my head he was drunk. He was drunk driving, and so I was going to spin the narrative that it was like, he did it again, And so I was Gilbert Godfrey, and I was like, this is Gilbert Godfrey. After seeing the news today, I have realized I have seen almost everything at this point. I see on the news, Tiger falls off cliff. Since when do cats not land on their feet? And so, like, I really thought that people were gonna roast my ass for that, and they never did. So I was like really worried.
It's a little funny. I liked it.
It's funny. And then like just changing your face to do something like, "Excuse me, miss. Yes, this is Jack Nicholson. I just wanted to swing by the show to talk about something a little difficult. Yes. What's his name? Kevin. It's not Kevin Spacey, maybe? I think it's Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. If you gave me a movie or a show, I'd be able to tell you.
I'm trying to think of it. There's this really funny comedian who was in A Few Good Men, and he always talks about Jack Nicholson hitting on his mom. And me and my dad always talk about this. Like whenever we're together, we always talk about him doing this interview and talking about Jack Nicholson hitting on his mom. And so this actor, his mom was in the audience as an extra during A Few Good Men, the famous courtroom scene.
Okay.
You can't
handle the truth.
Yeah, that one, And so his mom was like, talking to the background, like trying to get like an autograph from Jack Nicholson. And so like Jack goes up to him eventually and is like, "Excuse me, Kev." "Yes. Listen, I couldn't help but ask you a favor. I was wondering if you could get your mom off my ass. You think you can handle that?" He's like, "You want me to take your mom back to my trailer? Is that what you want?" And like he was just fucking with them, absolutely. But like I've always loved movies, man. That was something that me and my dad always would do. I came from two different sides of life. My mom was she went to UW-Madison and got her bachelor's degree, and no shame to him, but my dad was a truck driver who lived in a trailer park and would eat ramen noodles and PB&J to make child support on time. That's just what he did. And more respect to him as a man. For doing that kind of shit.
Hell yeah.
But I learned from different standpoints on finances and what to appreciate. And so we would just rent movies on end all weekend long, and just that's where I learned Cool Runnings and ice. You want igloos and Eskimos and penguins and ice.
That is one of my favorite movies of all time. Sanka, you okay, man? Yeah, I think so.
I'm dead, man. I'm dead, man. I'll kill you. But I draw a line on the middle of your head so it looks like a butt. That one's my favorite line. Or when they're square dancing, good moments. Such a good movie. But watching graphics like that. The first time I ever told Heidi I loved her was a reference to Princess Bride. I said, "As you wish."
Okay, I got you.
Have you ever seen that movie?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Not the world's biggest fan, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I think it's one of the best movies of all time, up there with Step Brothers.
See, like I said, I like it. It's just not my cup of tea. Like I said, I respect how good it is, and I think it's funny. It's just not something that I genuinely enjoy on my free time. So
it has everything that you'd want in a movie, basically.
I'm a sports movie
person. It has action. It has romance. Is this a kissing book? That's Princess Bride. That's one of my favorites, man.
I appreciate it. I'm just more of a sports movie. Like Miracle, I have watched Miracle probably 1,000 times, and I probably will watch it another 1,000 times, and it will never get old to me. Remember Titans, Friday Night Lights, those kind of movies never get old to me. Simple Man.
I told you my dad was at Rudy, right? The filming of Rudy.
No, really?
Yeah, he was at the filming of Rudy. He grew up in Goshen, which is right next to Fort Wayne, around that area. And he was at that game, and they filmed it at halftime. So, he was way at the top,
Sure, but still, that's fucking cool as shit.
Yeah, he can say he was at the game of Rudy.
That's fucking awesome. Again, another movie you could watch until Kingdom Come. Radio is another one. But yeah, I'm more of a sports movie kind of person.
You see, me and Heidi were just talking about Radio too, and we were watching Snow Dogs, and we were like, man, Cuba Gooding Jr. is just such a good actor.
Very underrated. I will give him that. Very underrated.
like, oh, that's what I said. Is we were talking about actors. We were talking about The Good Doctor, and I
Right.
said, does he actually have autism? And she said, I'm not sure. And I said, I thought I saw something on the news that people didn't want people that didn't have those certain handicaps to not play them. And I'm like, well, let's think, like, who in history actually has played them well? And I'm like, oh, she said radio, and I'm like, I thought in my head, Rain Man.
Fair enough. Another good one.
That, like, yeah, don't put baby in warm water. Is it warm water or cold water? I forget, but like,
I don't have a good enough memory.
We were just talking about radio, so it was weird that you brought that up.
See, I'm good like that, man. I'm good like that.
So, Zach, I've been seeing it all over social media that you genuinely think that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a bust. And so, like, I wanted to come on here during our time together, and we could talk about how you could think that the guy that people are comparing Peyton Manning to, Andrew Luck to, so many other quarterbacks to, could be a bust. So I wanted your opinion, and then possibly I could change your mind. We'll go through it, but who knows? Maybe you'll change my mind. I don't know, but go ahead, man.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot. We'll see what we can do. So, I mean, you kind of, for me, you kind of said it right there in your statement. We're comparing him to Andrew Luck. We're comparing him to Peyton Manning. We're calling him a future first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's never taken an NFL snap before. So right then and there, that to me is bust category. And let me put it in context, right? Like, we're talking, again, first ballot Hall of Famer, Peyton Manning kind of status. I think he'll be good. I think he may even win a Super Bowl. Maybe. I think that's a cosmic coin flip. But it wouldn't surprise me if he never did, but still had like a barely above average winning percentage. I think he'll be average. I think he'll be okay. And by those standards, compared to Peyton Manning, that's a bust. I think that he's got good physical attributes. I think that he's got good intellect. I think it's not that it concerns me, but the whole I don't have anything to prove mentality that he has, I don't necessarily like that. I would prefer to see a guy with a chip on his shoulder that says, all right, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to run this league, and I've got a beef with it, and I'm going to come out here and show you that I can do everything that I say I can do. So that kind of concerns me as far as his like boom or bust category. And I just think that his first few defining years will ruin him. Those are the most important in an NFL quarterback's upbringing. And you've got him with a rookie head coach who's, I mean, yeah, he's been successful in college, but it's two different games that we're talking about here. I'm of the firm belief that a rookie under almost no circumstance should ever play their first year. I went on a tangent 2 or 3 weeks ago with Hector about this. I don't think they should even be fitted for football pads their first year, because the games between college and the NFL are so goddamn different. It's not even funny, so thank you. So I think he'll be ruined, to be honest with you. You ever seen the movie Draft Day?
Oh, absolutely.
He's Bo Callahan.
Really?
Said it before. I'm unashamed of saying this. I think he's Bo Callahan. For me, I've got no tangible data that says I'm right. Nothing whatsoever. It's just a personal feeling. Just all these old school things in my head just are clicking a little button that says this dude is not who he's billed to be.
So my problem with it is, let's just go through what the possibilities for Trevor Lawrence is. Because when you talk about Peyton Manning, anybody, I don't care how good they are in college, personally, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is the best college quarterback that's ever walked the earth. You can make comparisons that the hype around Tua and the hype around Andrew Luck were just as big. Or Cam Newton, just as big. I guess you could say not Cam Newton, but like the other three, the hype was huge around those players. And Trevor Lawrence, the last 2 years, you haven't known if he's been the best player in football. Since his freshman year, you don't know if he's been the best. So the hype around Andrew Luck coming into the league, let's just compare him to Andrew Luck almost. Anyone that's comparing a quarterback to Peyton Manning or to a Tom Brady or someone coming out of the draft is an idiot. Like that's why I don't even like the Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers comparisons because it's ludicrous. You're comparing someone that has done so much in the league, compare him to people like Baker Mayfield, compare him to people like Derek Carr, compare him to people like that haven't been almost Hall of Fame caliber at this point. That's just ludicrous on an analyst point, okay? And so let's just focus more around the Andrew Luck comparison then. So Andrew Luck was in the league for how many years? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Did he get it? I believe he got out of his rookie contract. I think it was like 4 or 5 years. I believe they had like signed him to an extension and then like the year after he retired. So maybe 6 years. So
Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he's going to have a lengthy career in the league. So if you can say that Andrew Luck's not a bust, I think that you can say that Trevor Lawrence won't be a bust because he will have a very similar career. And this is why I think that, okay? So, I have a board right here next to me. Right here. I have everything ready for me. But we're
6 years.
Oh, yeah. I have it right here. My bad.
12 through 18, 6 years.
6 years? Oh, okay. So, yeah, I was right. So, the negatives going in for Trevor Lawrence right now, especially with the Jaguars, is I have them written down. 1, Urban and Chris Doyle. That was a big thing that probably shook up the locker room a lot. 2, I don't know if you watch AEW at all, but Urban Meyer was featured, and so right now, I'm not gonna say Urban Meyer. That's just like such a first take like headline right there. It's like Urban Meyer's mind is split on wrestling and football. But the owners of the team, their mindset is split. So Urban Meyer might always like show up on games on Sundays and then always be featured on Wednesdays too, and that could be taken away from football. So I think that that's a negative as well. Tebow possibly taking snaps from Lawrence. If it happens, it happens. I like a Taysom Hill type role. But there's an offense that I think that Tebow might fit in later that we'll talk about, okay? So, but my problem with Tebow, more or less, is like the relationship with Urban. Is that when you have someone let's just say you have someone that you've been working with for a while, and then you work with your best friend. Like, you're always going to, like, kind of listen to your best friend a little more than the other guy. So that's what worries me a little bit. Is that Tebow, like, with Florida, that was a unit. Do you know how many people from that unit actually got arrested?
Quite a bit. What was it, like 15 or something like that? Over 40. Oh, Jesus. I was way off.
Over 40. It's crazy.
Jesus.
So, yeah. But that unit was insane. So I feel like Urban always has a little favoritism towards Tebow.
That's fair.
And I'm not going to say that he, like, will lean on Tebow if Trevor's not up to what he will be, but I think it's going to split the locker room just a little bit on who's going to give that big speech.
No, I think it's more than just a little bit, and I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
If I'm Trevor Lawrence, Tim Tebow's simple presence there gets me a little bit worried in the back of my mind that if I'm fucking up, is Tim Tebow coming for my job?
Tim Tebow, I'm not like I might get put on a cross for this, but like Tim Tebow, he was a person that kneeled before Kaepernick, and somehow no one had a problem with it.
Well,
let's just say that.
If we want to talk about getting put on a cross, we all know why.
Let's not compare those two. But you know, like people often compare those two, but the message was never like you shouldn't be doing that during the game, you know, and stuff like that. You shouldn't be praying and talking about religion during the game and stuff like that. Like, so comparing it to Kaepernick is a little like far-fetched, I guess. Yes. But no one had a problem with it, really. Atheists didn't have a problem with it. Christians didn't have a problem with it. Like, NFL didn't have a problem with it. This is why Tebow's jersey is #1 right now on the NFL sales. Because Tebow
I've got a whole opinion on that. Trust me. I've got a whole skin color opinion on that.
Yeah. But that's for another day. Maybe I'll come back and we'll talk about that. You know. But another thing, we talked about it, Urban's lack of experience in the NFL. We don't know how college like coaches work in the NFL. We've seen how NFL coaches work in college, but we don't know how college coaches work in the NFL. I'm not a big fan of Kingsbury anyways, but he didn't work out in college anyways.
Right, and we've got we've got a varying sample size, right? I mean, Nick Saban tried his hand in the NFL, sucked. Yeah. Pete Carroll went from the NFL to college, back to the NFL. You know what I mean? So we have, and I'm sure there's probably, we know Chip Kelly went from college to the NFL and sucked. So there's varying sample sizes there. You know what I mean? There's varying opinions of where that could play out. And
so another thing is Robinson versus Etienne. I feel like that's going to be a problem too. And who's going to get those reps? They have the 18th toughest schedule next year.
Mm-hmm.
And that combined with the fact that Trevor Lawrence in his whole time as a quarterback since high school has had a perfect record regular season. Yep. He only loses in the postseason. So that's going to affect him big time going from that to the Jacksonville Jaguars because you're going up against who's in that division? The Texans, the Titans, and the Colts.
Yep.
That's a tough division this year. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Trevor Lawrence's agent was the person that's releasing all this stuff about Deshaun Watson, trying to make that division a little easier.
No, and honestly, that brings up a good point that I completely forgot about. That's one of my beefs with him. And I know everyone roasts me for this, but I want a guy who knows what it's like to lose and bounce back from adversity. Homeboy's never lost. He's lost 3 games, and like you said, all in the postseason. Yeah, they're big losses, but you don't know what losing is like, and you're going to a team that just got you at number 1, who knows nothing other than losing. So
let's say he kind of has a Andrew Luck type career. But this is what they've all done this offseason to help Trevor Lawrence this year, okay? These are the offseason notable acquisitions for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they had tight end, Tim Tebow, obviously, we talked about. Wide receiver from the Lions, Marvin Jones Jr. Mm-hmm. That'll be their strong wide receiver 1 eventually. Wide receiver from the Seahawks, former Patriot, Philip Dorsett.
Yep.
They have running back Carlos Hyde, cornerback Shaq Griffin, and cornerback Trey Herndon from the Saints. And then first and second round picks, Trevor Lawrence, and then Travis Etienne from Clemson. And then their second round picks, cornerback Tyson Campbell from Georgia and offensive tackle Walker Little from Stanford. So those are pretty good picks, honestly. I wouldn't say the notable acquisitions. Marvin Jones Jr. is a sleeper. That's going to be a good wide receiver 1 for him. But the rest of them they're going to be good fillers. Like, they're better than what they had, definitely. Did they probably overpay? Yes. But sometimes you have to overpay for culture.
And that's a fair point. That I don't think it's bad to have a team full of blue-collar guys. The lack of a superstar, obviously outside of Lawrence and Etienne, the lack of an established superstar doesn't fuck with me much because I don't see anything wrong with blue chips that all work together, right? I mean, we saw it work with the Giants. Yes, they had Eli Manning, but really, I'm sorry, Eli doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. He is the doofiest motherfucker I've ever seen thrown a football. So blue chip guys can come together and do well. I'm not saying that they can't. So that doesn't bug me at all. It just doesn't change my mind. I mean, with Robinson last year, who just had 1,000 yards, you traded up to get Etienne in the first round. You're not going to really play Hyde much. So Hyde is just, like you said.
The reason why I feel like Carlos Hyde could be a good acquisition for them is because he has better leadership. Well, in the running back room, he can tell Travis Etienne and James Robinson because he's a sophomore and a rookie in the league. He's going to be that veteran to help them along. That's what Carlos Hyde is going to be there for, and that's why it's strong. Because Carlos Hyde's been good in the last few, not in the good, but good backups. He'll fill in a few snaps. He's not going to be great for fantasy, but he'll fill in the roles, get you down the field.
And I don't think, like I said, I don't think having blue chip guys is a terrible idea. Tim Tebow at tight end, I have yet to see anything that makes me believe that he can run routes or pass block, which is what tight ends do, or run block, really. So I'm not impressed by that. Herndon, I don't think is terrible behind him. Again, not super sold on the pass running or route running ability. And a blue chip. The best thing that they have going for them, as you said it perfectly, is veteran presence. I think is the best thing that they have going for them on that offense.
And for year one, that's fine because listen for their coaching staff. They have head coach with rookie Urban Meyer, but their offensive and defensive coordinator, they have been around, my friend. Okay, you have defensive coordinator Joe Cullen, who was for the Baltimore Ravens, and that defense a few years ago, I don't know. I guess you could say they're okay right now, but they were scary at one point. And the Baltimore Ravens have always had a narrative of a scary defense. So being a part of a Baltimore Ravens team, it's like coming from UW-Madison. Always looks better on when you're applying for a job that you get a degree from a big school. You know,
fair enough.
Coming from the Baltimore Ravens defense, yeah, you kind of look like you know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay.
Yep.
So, and then offensive coordinator, the person that filled in for the Detroit Lions last year as head coach, Darrell Bevell. And Darrell Bevell, he coached Brett Favre for the Packers, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but that's like coaching. That's like saying that Adam Gase is really, really good because he had the number one offense under Peyton Manning.
No, because Darrell Bevell's good. Let's look at. I want to see this actually.
Do you know how you coach Brett Favre?
But I'm going to look it up on my phone to see who Darrell Bevell's all coach.
Do you want to know how you coach Brett Favre as an offensive coordinator? You say, "Here's the ball, Brett," and you let him do your thing. And you shut the fuck up. And you let Brett Favre do whatever the fuck he wants to do.
There was one story I like telling about Brett Favre, and I always say he's such a savage, honestly. And this is what he does. He goes, the coach gets pissed off at him that he just throws into triple coverage. He's like, Brett, I told you not to throw it into triple coverage. And he looks at him, and he goes, Coach, you just have the longest nose hair I've seen. And he he doesn't care. He doesn't listen. But Darrell Bevell, he's been around during good cultures, and that's important.
So is that what you're building your whole defense around, is good culture?
It's a good starter. For year one, that's what we're going off of. If we're going to talk career, because he's going to have a shortened career. I'm not going to say he's going to win the Super Bowl, Zach. I'm going to say
is that not the measure of success that we're talking about here? If we're talking Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, all these names.
No, because we said that anyone that compares him to Peyton Manning is an idiot, and we are a lot smarter than idiots. All right?
I don't know about all that, bro.
We're a little smarter than idiots, okay?
Un poquito.
So we're not idiots completely. We're a little smarter than idiots. So let's not compare him to Peyton Manning. Let's compare him to Andrew Luck. So Andrew Luck has had a few good postseason runs. If it wasn't for Tom Brady's deflated balls, he would be in the Super Bowl. So, like a very close recall Super Bowl run. So do we think that Trevor Lawrence has that in the works? Let's say we have 6 years for him before he burns out. He has never lost He's never lost a regular season game. So him coming into the Jaguars, he's going to have a shortened career, like I said, and he's going to have all these pieces that he's not going to have that much time. So I don't think he's going to win the Super Bowl. So don't say he's Peyton Manning. But do you think that he can make up a good playoff run eventually?
No.
Not even once.
I don't. I don't think in 6 years he'll get out of the first round.
Really?
Yep. You're talking about a revitalized Carson Wentz reuniting with Frank Reich, who was his coach when they won the Super Bowl and had his MVP year. Frank Reich was on that Super Bowl team. He was the OC. So we're getting a reuniting there. We've got the Colts, who have one of the best defenses in the NFL.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, they have one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. You've got, let's see, the Titans, who have a good team, who for a couple of years have been boxing it out deep into the postseason. With King Henry back there and a revitalized Ryan Tannehill. We've got a Houston Texans teams that right now is a complete fucking dumpster fire, but I can't imagine that that's going to last forever. It's all fun and games, and then God forbid you make it to the first round, and you're in the wild card round against, God forbid, someone like the Chiefs because they don't win first place. God forbid the fucking Patriots. No, I don't think Lawrence in 6 years is going to be able to make it out of the first. I think he's going to burn out. He's going to be barely above 500 when it all shakes out.
Okay. So last thing about this, then try to change your mind, because if you really can't change your mind about this, I might agree with you honestly. So this is how I'd run the offense. It's 11 men on the field, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is how I run the offense then. So you have 5 linemen, obviously, center, 2 tackles, 2 guards, And then you have wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, 1 and 3 split out right, and then you have your wide receiver 2 over. And then you have quarterback and then 2 running backfield, okay? Kind of like a Ravens backfield, essentially. So this is the formation that I genuinely could see the Jaguars doing for success. Because in my mind, you can have speed, you can have size, and you can get it downfield if you have good blocking, okay? If you have good blocking, this could be successful. This is the only way it can be successful. Because you have to have tight ends.
There's the difference we have on that exact formation.
You're subtracting 2 tight ends to make sure you have a running back and an extra wide receiver out there. But this is the lineup, okay? Quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Running back 1, James Robinson. There's your size. Running back 2, Travis Etienne. And that's your speed right there. And because they're like Urban Meyer's talking about that you're letting him run wide receiver routes, that can be your wheel guy if he needs to. James Robinson can be your halfback dive guy. He can just go right up the middle if he wanted to. Just hand off, boom, right up the middle, okay? And then your wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. Wide receiver 1, Marvin Jones Jr., who could have been a wide receiver 1 in Detroit if it wasn't for Kenny Galladay.
Right.
So he'll be the Jaguars wide receiver 1. And then who else was there? DJ Clark. DJ Clark is sneaky good.
Right.
Very good. Even with Gardner.
DJ Shark out there?
Huh?
Is it DJ Shark? CHARK? I thought it was Shark. Oh, my bad. I thought his name was DJ Shark. My bad.
DJ Clark. And then obviously we can't be forgetting about Laviska Shenault Jr.
Right.
Good too. So those 3 together and then that backfield? Come on.
I don't think that's bad in year 3.
Right.
Maybe as soon as year 2. But if we're talking his rookie season, I'm not sacrificing jack diddly squat for protection.
That's fine because right now, James Robinson's going into his sophomore year. In year 2, he'll be going into his final year of his contract. If they pay James Robinson, that'll be the year that they'll be successful. So if they can make a deep run that year, then they pay Travis Etienne as well.
Oh, see, now you lost me. I don't believe in paying running backs.
Nah, I think that by that time, this is 3 years down the line.
Yeah,
the running back thing will start to slip away, and so they're going to be splitting backfields. You've been seeing it all over. There's split backfields now with Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs.
Sure. You have to have split backfields. I just don't believe in
they're not going to be paying running backs anymore. They learned from Todd Gurley and Ezekiel Elliott that they're not going to. I genuinely don't think so.
Look, and man, my man just signed Tim Tebow as a tight end. I'm not going to go ahead and chalk up great decision-making to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I think, okay, let's make a bet. We'll make a bet here on the show.
Sure.
I'm going to stick with my pick. But in the next 6 years, this is going to be a long bet. But I think we can stick by it, okay?
We got the receipts?
We got the receipts. The receipts are right here if anyone wants to check it out. Episode, however, of Breaking Down the Tape.
I think this is like season 2, episode 5 or some shit.
Whatever, yeah. So if the Jaguars make it to the Super Bowl in the next 6 years, Hoove is right. Or no, I don't want to say Super Bowl. AFC Championship game. Because here's what I think. I think that they're going to have the same thing like Andrew Luck, that the Patriots at the time were the Chiefs right now. So they're going to go up against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, and they're going to lose the Chiefs close, and they're never going to be the same again. That is my thinking.
Within the next 6 years.
Huh? Yes.
Okay. I'll take that bet because I don't think they'll get out. I don't think they'll get out of the first round in the next 6 years.
That means one bad year for Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Ben Roethlisberger will be retired by that time.
Yeah, that means
who knows if he can beat Joe Burrow.
I don't think so. I like Joe Burrow far more than I like Trevor Lawrence.
Ooh, that's a bet. All right.
Far more.
Let's, like Charlie Barons, let's keep her moving, all right?
But yeah, I mean, so I'm a little surprised. You have kind of changed my mind.
Right.
Kind of. I don't know about, like, fully changed my mind. I don't. Now, a lot can happen between, if we implement that kind of offense, a lot can happen in year 2 or 3 when I would like to see it implemented as opposed to year 1, because I don't like sacrificing protection. I would have 6 offensive linemen on the field at all times if I had to have a rookie quarterback out there. Again, remember the Titans. I run 3 plays.
Tim Tebow, do you really want it?
No. Like, my tight end is going to be a lineman. Like, my backup guard is going to be my tight end.
Right, but right now, if that tight end is going to be Tim Tebow, wouldn't you rather just have a wide receiver out there?
I would just rather not have
exactly. You can't even see that.
I would rather not
say that because it's true. It's like, no, I'm good, Tebow. Tebow, you can go pray. It's Sunday. I'm sorry, Chick-fil-A is not closed and you can't get your nuggets. But I think we're gonna go put. I think we're gonna put Marvin or Philip Dorsett in for a few reps.
Yeah, I would find literally like anybody else. Like JJ Watt's played tight end. I would get my fucking D end to go out there and play tight end.
JJ Watt is 30 minutes from me, so I have a much higher respect for JJ Watt.
I like JJ Watt, I really do.
I do.
But yeah, so you've given me some sort of Jaguars hope. I still have this nagging he is Bo Callahan feeling to me, so I will still say overall bust. But you did give me a little bit of nagging hope.
As long as you just don't compare him to Peyton Manning, I don't think he can be a bust.
Fuck no.
As long as you compare him to Andrew Luck, he won't be a bust. Because I like Andrew Luck, and I think eventually he might make the Hall of Fame because this is where the Hall of Fame is going, and they're letting a lot of people in that probably shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
And so they might let Andrew Luck in. Will he be in the Colts Hall of Fame? Absolutely.
Sure. Andrew Luck will go down. First of all, I mean, God bless him. He made the right decision.
Amen. I totally agree.
But as a football fan, shattered my heart because of all of the things that Andrew Luck could have been in my lifetime. My realistic comparison and the nicest comparison that I'll give Trevor Lawrence is Matt Stafford. That's the nicest comparison.
Okay, I respect that. Okay. Yeah, because I guess that's a good comparison. Like, my thing is I like Andrew Luck and I respected his decision because do you remember Chris Borland? Probably not.
I feel like I know the name.
Yeah. He was during the movie with Dr. Will Smith about concussions.
Yes. Concussion was the name of the movie, I believe.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So Chris Borland, he was from Wisconsin. He was a middle linebacker, and this was when we lost Navarro Bowman, we lost Patrick Willis, we lost our Super Bowl defense. We drafted Chris Borland first or second round, and then he retired after his rookie year, or maybe it was his rookie year, after preseason, because he didn't want to get concussions. But he's one of the smartest people you'll ever meet. That's what I did. That inspired me genuinely. I was a quarterback in going in my freshman year. I got 2 concussions and a pulled hamstring, and I said, "Fuck this, dude! I want to use my brain." And now I'm an NFL guy, and I'm known for my impressions by NFL coaches, NFL athletes, and NBA players, and NBA coaches and NBA players too. So
just a subtle flex there.
Subtle flex. Thanks, coach, for not putting me in and not believing me. My brother led the state in tackles, and they were like, "This kid ain't shit." Look at me now.
Look at me now. Hoov, I want to talk to you about the Super Bowl.
A little early, don't you think? We haven't got the drafts done, but what I get it.
Yeah, no, we don't even have 53-man roster set, but I want to talk to you about the Super Bowl. I want to get your takes on your top 3 teams from both the AFC and NFC that you think will be in the Super Bowl. And then I'll obviously give my own.
Whoo, that's bold. I got to come on your show and I got to ruin it for everybody? I got to spoil it for everybody?
Yes, I want to hear your predictions, damn it.
Well, because the last 2 years, I predicted one half of the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yes. At first, I said the 49ers, Patriots. 49ers made it. 49ers Chiefs. And then last year I said it was going to be the Chiefs versus the Packers.
Okay, we got the Chiefs, obviously.
Obviously, I was very close both times,
Okay. Maybe we should get you a crystal ball for next time.
I do have a crystal ball. It's like I'm Doctor Strange. Have you seen I got the patchy goatee, patchy facial hair.
I like it.
My beard is so patchy. It's sponsored by Manscaped, honestly.
Nah, see, I can't grow hair on the top of my head, which is you've got down, but I've got the facial hair good.
That's all right. So let's get into it, man.
Yes.
All right.
So hit me with it. Yeah, you're the guest. I want my last word to be last, man. Damn.
So do you want to go NFC or AFC first?
Hey, whatever's up to you, man. You tell me.
All right. So originally I was going to come on the show and I was going to get my top 10, but then I thought, Zach, I want to save my top 10 list for my show. So coming soon, HoovTube will be back on YouTube and I will be breaking my top 10 list, but here are my top 3 lists from both the NFC and the AFC. All right. We'll start with the NFC, okay? Number 3, I'm going to have to go with the Los Angeles Rams. Right now, they have the 10th toughest schedule going into this season with a 0.515%. So that's a pretty tough schedule right now, but I really do believe that they went all in during this offseason by trading for Matthew Stafford. They have one of the best wide receiver duos in Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. If Cooper Kupp can stay healthy, that is a good team, and they can overcome that 10th toughest schedule. Do you agree?
I like it.
Number 2 on my list. I was really kind of on the fence about this pick because a part of me says, oh, they're rebuilding. But at the same time, they were injured a lot last year, and they still had a decent record. So I'm going to put my San Francisco 49ers as second on this list, and they're tied for the 11th easiest schedule going into this with a 0.489% of the winning. I don't know if the viewers know what that means, but that means like what their opponents, who they play, what they won the previous year, or what their or what they are more likely going to win this year, their opponents. Right. So they're going to have a pretty easy schedule this year, and possibly it seems like a lot of rumors are going out that Julio Jones could be the person that lands in San Francisco. That could be the place where he lands.
Hey, I said it here last week, man. I think Aaron Rodgers and Julio Jones end up in San Fran.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's bold. I would say if that was going to happen anywhere, Denver probably for Jerry Jeudy.
Maybe.
That would be.
I think they try and keep Jeudy though with Julio Jones, add more firepower there.
I thought Julio was going to go to Philly, but if Julio can be that piece, we don't have a good wide receiver. I wanted it to be Odell for a long time, and I thought Julio was going to end up on the Eagles. But if Julio can come to the 49ers, right now they don't know what they're going to do with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo's lost 8 games as a starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
His first full year led them to a Super Bowl. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is a top 10 quarterback. He's like top 10 to 15. He's a good starting quarterback. So maybe if he is the guy over for the Texans, that wouldn't be a bad idea eventually. I'm thinking out loud. Or if Chicago didn't draft Justin Fields, I thought maybe he should have went there this offseason if we were going to draft Trey Lance. But Julio could be the perfect piece for the 49ers, so I have him second on my list for the NFC.
Okay.
And then number 1, with the 4th easiest schedule this year with a 0.465%. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers going back to the Super Bowl. They have everybody back. Antonio Brown. They got, do I even need to name everybody?
Yeah, they literally got everybody.
A lot of people back. I don't want to waste that much time because I know we don't have it, but they got a lot of free agents, something unheard of coming back to Tampa Bay.
The first time ever, all 22 starters have been returned to an NFL's or a Super Bowl winning team.
That's crazy. I don't even want to name everybody, but yeah, it's absolutely insane that everybody came back. So the fact that Drew Brees isn't in that division anymore, Julio might not be a weapon for Matt Ryan more than likely. And I think Carolina has something good going with Sam Darnold, like we talked about on the show. I think Sam Darnold will be a top 10 quarterback. You heard it here first. Second, probably, actually, after my show. But, like, that's going to be...
Hector said the same thing. He's willing to die on that hill.
Hell yeah. I talked him into that. Fuck yeah. But yeah, like, that's going to be a very easy division. And I kind of thought that the Packers, if Aaron Rodgers would have stayed, they would have had a very easy walk back to the NFC Championship. But obviously, right. Aaron Rodgers wasn't happy, and now they have a lot of conflict up there, so they're not even on my top 3. But that's my top 3 for the NFC. Now let's move it over to the AFC. People might be a little surprised by this number 3. I got the Kansas City Chiefs. Personally, going back-to-back to the Super Bowl is very difficult. The Patriots in the recent years have made it look a lot easier than it actually is. If you listen to the Pat McAfee show, you've learned that his rookie or sophomore year, he came out of the Colts, they made the Super Bowl. He's like, oh, we'll be back next year. Never made it back again. Because it's such a unrealistic thought that you're going to go back. Do the Chiefs have something special? Yes. But going back to back to back more than likely isn't going to happen. They are tied for the 14th toughest schedule this year with a .511. And the NFC and the AFC West is building right now. You know, it's not the Raiders, obviously. Let me tell you what, man. You know, it's not John Gruden. He doesn't have any, unless it was Aaron Rodgers going there. But
that would change things significantly.
Denver had a sneaky good offseason. Like I talk about Quinn Miners, one of my favorite players in this draft. Subscriber of HoovTube. Fan of HoovTube, you know. Like, they had a really good offseason even before the draft. So I like all the pickups that Denver had. The Raiders are still developing. They were good the first half of the season. And then after Thanksgiving, John Gruden just must have ate something bad and had food poisoning the last few weeks of the season. But yeah, that division's getting better. And then let's not forget Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Maybe that's the team that Julio Jones ends up on. I would love to see Julio Jones and Keenan Allen side by side. Nasty.
That would be devastating. That would be devastating.
Nasty. I think that was Mike on the mic that posted that. I'm like, that is fucking nasty. He looks good in that powder blue. And I've never said that about a player besides LaDainian Tomlinson and Antonio Gates.
Yeah. That would change the complex of that division.
Nasty. Like, obviously Julio is probably your number 1, but who's going to guard those two? That's so nasty. That's going to elevate Keenan Allen to a different level.
For sure. So you have to bracket and double Julio, right? You always have to lean a safety over his way, and that's gonna open up Keenan Allen ridiculously.
And my last point on why I don't think the Chiefs are but the number 1 favorites in the AFC and they're the 3rd is because they are rebuilding their offensive line. They have a completely different offensive line protecting Patrick Mahomes. And like we learned in sports, that it takes time. It takes time to build chemistry within players. So this first season, if they make a deep run in the playoffs, that is going to be as good as possible that the Chiefs should shoot for this year. Going back to back isn't likely. Let's not shoot for that. If it happens, it happens. But let's not bet on it because you're just throwing your money away at that point almost.
That's a fair point.
There's so many other emerging teams right now that are probably could knock off the Chiefs one game in the playoffs. One good game that the Chiefs aren't having that someone else is. Yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree with that in the slightest.
And then my team that I thought could have been a sleeper for the playoffs this year, but they didn't have the right guy, okay? This team, I thought they had the right pieces last year because they stole DeForest Buckner from my San Francisco 49ers. And overall, this team has the most depth amongst the whole NFL. I am so proud of this team because I didn't think that they were going to build a team around a quarterback since Andrew Luck left, and that is the Indianapolis Colts. They are number 2 on my AFC favorites. If Carson Wentz can be the guy, if he was ass, but if Frank Wright is going to do Mission Impossible like Tom Cruise and get Carson Wentz back, they will be a Super Bowl contender. Bank on it.
Okay.
They're tied for the 7th easiest schedule, too, with a .478.
You like that easiest schedule, that rank of schedule, don't you?
It matters. It like when you watch my video, when you go check out HoovTube and you check out my top 10 list, you'll see that it matters, but not necessarily because we're only doing the top 3. You're kind of seeing like, oh, I guess it matters. Like the Rams had a tough schedule, but there's going to be some teams like the Colts that are going to boost up because they have a very easy schedule.
Sure.
So if Carson Wentz can be it, I have them number 2.
Well, that's the key there. I don't disagree. I just think he needs to not fuck up. But I don't disagree with that.
Jonathan Taylor, Wisconsin Badger. This is what happens. I think I said this on my show. When you believe in Wisconsin players, success happens. Russell Wilson, Jonathan Taylor, other than Melvin Gordon behind a wheel, like very successful, you know.
Yeah,
but
Travis players. Yeah, for sure. Hit me with your number 1, man.
My number 1. I think that this guy might win the MVP this year. Honest to God, the quarterback for this team, and because he has a lot of weapons on offense and defense. My friend, if he is watching this, Mr. Jeff Green, a big fan of this team. I need everybody like the Dudleys to say 3 words for me. Get the tables! I got number 1, the Buffalo Bills. I think Josh Allen is going to elevate and possibly win MVP this season. I got 3 more words for you, or 2 words for you. Emmanuel Sanders. The fact that he is joining that offense with Stephon Diggs is going to elevate it so much. I am really excited for the Buffalo Bills this season, and they are my number 1 favorite to go to the Super Bowl. Do I think that they are going to do it? I don't know, because they're in a really competitive division with right now the Patriots and the Dolphins right now. So one of those
Jets are competitive, damn it, sir. The Jets are competitive, sir.
You see, my father was a Jets fan. And one night he goes off crazier than usual. Mommy grabs kitchen knife to defend herself. He doesn't like that. That's how it feels to be a Jets fan, probably, honestly. You feel like the Joker all the time. You're just going fucking batshit nuts. Party of one.
Correct. 100% correct.
So I guess maybe Buffalo shouldn't be my number 1. Do you want me to tell you who I genuinely think the Super Bowl will be?
Sure.
I think my top 2 favorites, actually. I think I don't have the balls to say it on the show.
Okay.
But I think my top 2 are the Colts and the Browns.
Really? No,
I think the Colts and the Browns.
Wow.
One of those teams is going to go off on a ridiculous run in the playoffs, and I think that they genuinely can represent the AFC.
Really?
Dude, the Browns, they got Jeremiah out of Notre Dame this year in the second round. They traded up for him. The Browns had a great draft. They've been drafting insane last few years, and Kevin Stefanski, he wasn't there for their playoff game that they won, but everyone else got playoff experience, and Kevin Stefanski, once he is a part of the team without COVID and shit, watch out for the Browns, man. Watch out for the Colts too.
That's interesting. So you'll find my picks a little bit interesting. So I'll start off like you with the NFC. So I've got number 3. I actually like the Seahawks.
Really?
Yeah. I think Russell Wilson. I think this offseason doesn't affect his play. I think DK is going to establish himself even more so in the elite receiver status. I think it's dumb to count out Pete Carroll at any time. I know that division got harder with JJ Watt sitting there. And the Cardinals aren't a joke. The Rams aren't a joke. I know that it's a hard division, but I don't hate the Seahawks at number 3.
They're tied I'm sorry for cutting you off, but they're tied for the 11th toughest schedule.
See,
with the Chiefs.
I don't stress too hard about the toughest schedule. I mean, obviously, yes, you have to play through that schedule to get to the postseason. But once the postseason happens, it's a completely different universe. So, like I said before, we've seen the 8-8 Giants sneak in and beat the undefeated Patriots in the Super Bowl. So
we're talking wear and tear on a season that is adding an extra game.
Correct. And that could and coming off of a COVID season. This is two of the most unpredictable back-to-back seasons we've seen ever in the history of football.
Some starting players that opted out are returning back to the field this year, so they're going to have, like, ring rust pretty much.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting, but I like the Seahawks in this.
Okay.
Number 2 comes from the same division. Like you put them pretty high, as I'm going to take the Rams. I think Matt Stafford coming over there is a exponential increase at quarterback. I never liked Jared Goff. I never liked Carson Wentz. I've been quoted as saying that they're the top 2 okayest quarterbacks to ever be drafted. So I think Matt Stafford going there is an exponential increase. They've got a great defense. Like you said before, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, they're not to be slept on. At number 1, you got to take the Bucs. First of all, you said it before, going back-to-back is tough. Going back-to-back Super Bowls, winning back-to-back Super Bowls is tough. This generation has been spoiled with the Patriots making it look so easy. But never, like I said before, never in the history of the NFL has a Super Bowl winning team have been able to bring back all 22 starters. That's madness. What they've done in their contracts is pure and unadulterated madness. So I just have no reason not to believe that they'll come back and win it again.
Here's my take that people can quote me on. If the Bucs focus more on an undefeated season, they will not make it back to the Super Bowl. If they focused on making it back to the Super Bowl, they'll make it to the Super Bowl.
I can agree with that.
Whatever task they want, they'll get. Well, if you want to go 17-0, go 17-0. But I promise you won't win a Super Bowl. There's too many good teams in the playoffs that are waiting for you. And
you'll burn yourself out. I agree wholeheartedly. I agree. Like, once you lock it in, fucking bench everybody. Chill out. Ride the rest of the season. Lose the rest of the season. If you go 14-3, but you have everybody rested, then you'll be fine.
You hear what Tom's saying, and he's like, I'd give up 2 rings to get an undefeated season. So if they do it, I don't think they'll make it back. But we'll see.
I don't disagree with that, but I like their
AFCA. Give me that AFCA, that AFC.
The AFCA. So I'm starting off with a very hot take. And it's because they've been traumatized for 20 years straight. They haunt my dreams. This man, former head coach of the New York Jets for 12 fucking hours, is the Patriots.
Smart pick.
Yes. I'm sorry, Ed. With what? They had 8 guys sit out COVID last year. They'll have them all back. Bill Belichick spent the most money he has ever done in his history of coaching in free agency. And the fact that they're going 2 strong tight ends again just brings back fever dreams for me. I remember the days of Hernandez and Gronkowski, and they terrorized me. And I've been quoted saying, again, that if Mac Jones falls to the Patriots, we're in for another 20 years of doom and gloom. So I'm just doubling down on that. And the Patriots are my 3rd favorite in the AFCA. That's all I'll ever call it now, thanks to you.
I always say that there's 3 things in sports you don't bet against. You don't bet against Tom Brady's quarterbacking. You don't bet against Bill Belichick's coaching, and you don't bet against who's crystal ball. And if they go against each other, Tom Brady always wins. My crystal ball will always come second to Tom Brady's quarterbacking. I do not bet against Tom. I can win against Bill. I can't win against Tom. I can win against Bill. I can't win against Tom.
We're about to see this year if Brady can win against Tom. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe your crystal ball rises up a little bit in those ranks.
It depends on where my crystal ball, whose side my crystal ball is on. Let's be real.
Fair enough.
All right.
At number 2, I'm taking the Browns.
Damn right. Let's go.
Especially if OBJ does not play for the Browns.
Ooh, where would he go?
Just anywhere not the Browns. They got exponentially better when he got hurt. And I actually have the receipts from that as well. I called that shit. But people blame it on Baker not being confident, and then after OBJ got hurt, somehow he got more confident. That makes no sense to me. But I think without OBJ on the field, they do substantially better. I'm not saying they can't make it with him on the field. I just think they will do substantially better without him on the field. They've upgraded their defense. I just like the Browns. I think they showed me a lot last year. I wanted Baker when they drafted, when the Browns pulled a fast one and drafted him over Sam Darnold, which made me throw a temper tantrum. So this would be a little bit of a vindication moment for me if Baker goes on to play in and win. So I like the Browns.
Yeah. Okay. Then let's make this pick then out of that. I respect it because like I said, I see the Browns doing something. Whoever doesn't get Julio Jones will settle and try to make a play for Odell Beckham Jr.
I don't dislike that. I can get behind that.
So like the Ravens, if they miss out, they'll probably reach out. 49ers, if they miss out, they'll probably reach out. They'll keep that pick going with HoovTube. The Seahawks, I don't know why they're reaching out for Julio. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think they're even sleeping on Tyler Lockett themselves, which is
I don't think so. I don't like Tyler Lockett.
You don't
Everyone like Tyler hates me for it, but I don't like it. I don't. DJ
Tyler
Metcalf
Lockett has one of the highest difficulty of catch percentages. The dude catches everything. They're the most ridiculous bullshit throw, and he'll come down with.
I don't know. I guess I like the glitz and glamour. I like the Julio Joneses. I don't like Amari Cooper though. So I guess it depends on the guy.
Fair enough. And my number one is I shouldn't be happy about this, but I am happy about this because their fan base is literally the best fan base in the NFL, hands down, period. It's the same with you. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills. I'm taking the Bills Mafia, baby. 3 words. Let's do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Get the tables! Hell yeah. Yeah, man. I like what I've seen out of Josh Allen. I like what obviously I've seen out of that defense. The coaching has been great. I really like the fan base. I think that they have an easy chance, not an easy chance, but a damned good chance at winning the AFC East. I think if the Patriots make it, it'll probably be through a wild card because I think the Bills can lock up the East pretty assuredly. They've shown great football towards the end of last year, and I think they're going to continue it easily. That's a good sports analyst of you to come out and say, put your pride aside and make a good prediction. You got to. What am I going to say? The fucking Jets? People genuinely thought that I was like just saying that the 49ers are going to go to the Super Bowl because I was a 49ers fan. I was like, no, this team is genuinely good at 4-0. I said, no, this team's different. This defense is different. I don't care what you guys say. They're going to make it. And people hated me for it because I was in Wisconsin. And what did we have to do? We had to beat down Aaron Rodgers twice to get there. Ran through him. And then I followed it up with the Bucks pick. And I said the Heat were going to knock out the Bucks in the second round. And people hated me for it. But people know that I'm a good analyst because I'm not afraid to piss people off to say the goddamn truth. Yeah, you gotta take what the smart call is, man. You can't be a homer in this shit. Damn right. I'll accept when I'm wrong too, You got to eat your shit too. But before we go, I want you to let everybody know. First, I want to thank you for filling in for Hector this week, and thank you. This is, to many more in the future. But let everybody know where they can find you. Give them a little bit of a preview. Another one of those winks would be cool too, and then we'll wrap this up. Yeah, guys, if you guys want to check me out on YouTube, Instagram, SportsMe, those are my main platforms that I go out of. I'm trying to expand and go out on all platforms so you guys can check out HoovTube to go. But that's down the road. I'm trying to get my my intern kind of guy on top of that. But check me out on YouTube, SportsMe, and Instagram at HoovTube on those platforms. I love entertaining you guys, so check me out there. And it's your boy Hope. I love it, guys. Like, follow, share him, go everywhere you can find him. Tell all your friends about HoovTube. A great friend of ours, and obviously, you know where to find us: TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I guess I'm on Twitter, although I need to fucking tweet more, I suppose. I said what I said, bitches.